Hey everyone! In today's video, I'm going to show you two CNC woodworking projects that look amazing, are easy to make, and make money for me every fall season. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to share a critical tip with you that'll help you master your CNC work. Let's dive in. These two projects are proven winners in the selling market. If you check out any selling platform, Etsy, eBay, Folksy, you're going to find variations of these two products, and you're going to see that they're big sellers. The first are pumpkin boxes and Frankenstein boxes. The design that I'm sharing is ideal for beginning woodworkers and CNCers because it requires only basic cuts and finishing techniques to prep the materials and then simple CNC toolpaths to create your design. Let's talk about the cuts. We're going to need 4 pieces of wood for the outside, 2 at 6 inches by 12 inches and 2 at 4.5 inches by 12 inches. We'll need 2 pieces that are 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches and a top that is 7 1/8 by 7 1/8. All of these pieces will be 3/4 inches thick. We'll need 1 set of each of these pieces for both the pumpkin and Frankenstein boxes. Lastly, we will need a 3/4 inch thick dowel cut at 2 inches, and we only need 1 of these for the pumpkin box. This will be for the stem at the top. People, please don't forget to stop and make sure you're hydrating. People, please don't forget to stop and make sure you're hydrating. Next part is where the CNC comes in. I chose this toothy little guy for my pumpkin design and a generic Frankie for the Frankenstein box, but your choices are limitless on what you want to do for faces. All you need to do is choose a vector design that you like, import it into your CAD software, trace the vector, and then create a simple profile toolpath. I'm using a .250 compression bit, cutting the inside for the eyes of the pumpkin box, and then a .125 inch downcut spiral bit to cut out the inside of the nose and the mouth. For the Frankie box, I'm just going to cut this using a .250 compression bit. Total cut time for these toolpaths is less than 4 minutes for the pumpkin box and about 3 minutes for the Frankie box. While the CNC is doing its thing, I want to share that I'm not a fan of Halloween. I am a super fan. I love it all. The start of the football season, fall foliage, cooler weather, and of course, everything Halloween. Every year, I do a month-long horror movie marathon, and I think I'm the only adult I know that tries to go to at least 2 to 3 haunted houses every season. Next step is assembling your boxes. I'm using wood glue and brad nails. That will create plenty of strength for this application. Here's a tip. Go with Titebond 3 for your glue if you're going to be putting these outside. This formulation is the only one that claims to be waterproof by Titebond. Take your second 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch piece and center it in the top piece, then secure it in place with wood glue and brad nails. This is used as a guide to keep the top in place and allows you to take the top on and off to put in your lights. Just don't make the same mistake I did and use nails that are too long so they poke through the opposite side.
Oops.
No big deal, we'll just hammer these flat. Next, we're going to use the Shu-Sugi band technique to char up this wood. I've used this technique on past projects, and I love the look that it gives the wood. It adds a nice rustic appeal, and as an added bonus, the Shu-Sugi band technique creates a hard protective carbon layer that protects the wood. The carbon barrier repels water, resists mold and rot, deters insects, and also makes the wood more resistant to UV fading. And in this case, it looks great with some stain applied over it as well. So after you've added your charring, you're going to scrape it down with a drill with wire brush attachment. I have a restorer tool, which is great for this as well, that I'm going to use, but you definitely don't need to have this tool. This will remove enough of the char from the outer layers of sapwood so that you can apply stain and get good absorption. Apply your stain, wipe it off, and enjoy the result. Play around with the different faces and colors and create a set. One of my favorite things about fall is that every piece you make has a story. When someone buys your CNC project, it's not just decor. It becomes part of their home, their holiday, their memories. That's the cool thing about woodworking. What you make outlives the season. So I'd love to know, if you could only make one woodworking project this fall, what would it be? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your ideas. The next project combines fall decor with farmhouse/rustic style, and the two go together like drunk and disorderly. What you want to do for this is find a couple of boards that look weathered and rustic. You can use pallet wood, buy reclaimed wood, or even create your own by distressing the wood and applying a stain. You're going to need two pieces that are roughly 48 inches long by 5 inches wide by 3/4 inches thick, or one piece that's 40 inches long by roughly 10 inches wide by 3/4 inches thick. You're also going to need two pieces that are 10 inches long by 1.5 inches wide by 3/4 inches thick. So let's get those cut out. I have this weathered barnwood that I got from a friend's farm a few years back, and I've been waiting for a project like this to use it for. It's absolutely perfect. The next step is going to be using the smaller pieces to join the larger pieces. For this, I'm going to use some rusty bolts to give the sign some extra character. If you don't have any rusty bolts, fret not, because we're going to make them. The process is simple and takes less than 10 minutes.
I'm excited. We have, what are these?
Bolts.
We have some bolts, and what are these?
Nuts.
Nuts.
Bolts and nuts. All right, so take them and dump them into the container.
All of them?
Yep. Place your bolts into a container and put some white vinegar over it. Let the bolts sit in the vinegar for about 5 minutes. Then dump the vinegar out. Then add hydrogen peroxide to your container and dump in a bunch of salt on top of the metal as well. Let this sit for about a half an hour and then dump it out. Dry it off, let the material sit overnight, and in the morning, you're going to have some rusty and aged looking bolts. Take those back to your project and drill 2 holes in each of your smaller pieces. Then use those to mark the location of where to drill holes in your larger pieces. Then use your rusty bolts to join the pieces together. This thing is coming out awesome so far. Now we head over to the CNC to cut out some letters. For this, you're going to create profile toolpaths to cut out an F, 2 L's, and a leaf shape. To keep it simple, I'm going to create these toolpaths using just one 0.250 compression bit. That way, there's no bit changes for the project. Total cut time for this is about 90 seconds. Here's the bonus tip. Make sure to add some tabs to the pieces that you're going to cut all the way through on your CNC machine. You need to do this so your pieces don't get launched by the machine when they're cut all the way through. After your cuts are done, I like to use an oscillating tool to cut my tabs and release the pieces. As an alternative, you could also secure your pieces to your CNC using painter's tape and CA glue. In this case, you don't need to cut the tabs because your pieces are secured to the table. Once I get my letters cut, I'm going to add a small round over at my router table to soften the edges. Now we can take our letters and add a little char to them using our blowtorch again. This isn't quite Shu Sugi Ban here. With that, you're adding a much deeper burn. Here we're just adding some darker color to the sapwood with a light burn to make it look aged when we add the stain. Next, I'm using powdered colors to clear stain to give the letters some color. I'm going to do a nice orange and red. Once that's done, use wood glue and brad nails to secure your pieces to the sign and enjoy. If you want to give it some extra protection from the elements, you can add 3 coats of water-based spar urethane. If this is going to be an indoor piece, you can skip this step. I'm pretty critical of my own work sometimes, but I love how these came out. You will absolutely sell these like hotcakes this fall season, and they make great gifts for friends and family too. Thanks for watching all. If you enjoyed this video, check out this video next on some other crafts that sell really well.